Welcome to Life Wisdom with Ed Langan, the place to come for practical and spiritual information to help you as you move forward along your path, and life wisdom from the guides. On this spiritual talk show, we talk about everything from self-love and creating your own reality to quantum physics and what your soul wants you to know. I'm your host, Ed Langan. I am a channel for the Ascended Ones, the guides. I am a life coach, a law of attraction expert, and a spiritual teacher. Other than that, I am just a regular dude, whatever that might be. On this episode, I have a special guest. Yvette Neshi Lokotz is joining us. She is the CEO of Star Nations, and I'm going to interview her, and we're going to talk about the Red Road, her spiritual path, the Merkaba, Star Nations, and lots of other things, and we'll see where it goes. It's going to be a very interesting show. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I had Neshi on almost a year ago and said we always need to have her come back. So she's back today. It's going to be an exciting show. The second part of the show, I am going to channel the guides to answer questions about law of attraction and any aspects of life. You can post questions during the show. Marge will let you know. Marge is here and is flying the plane, as she always does so well. She will let you know when you can post your questions. The more powerful and the more focused the question, the more powerful and the focused the answer from the guides. You can also send questions in ahead of time. You can send them, you can message them to me, and I will ask them for you I'll ask the guides and read the answers during the show. Neshi is also going to stick around for the Q&A, so she will also be here. If you have a question specifically for her in the comments, make sure that you specifically say that. And I'm going to have Marge bring Neshi up now because we're going to talk a little bit about Star Nations. So Neshi should be here in a second. And there she is. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, bonjour, everyone. Bonjour, Ed.
Nice to see you. So at this part of the show is when I normally thank all our viewers for liking and sharing all the wonderful shows that we have on Star Nations and all the resources that we have. And I figured a big thank you from both of us would be, we really appreciate it. It means a lot to us. It's getting the information out there so people who are seeking it can find it. And I also think today is Big Thursday, isn't there? Don't we have 3 shows today?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do. All right. So it starts with my show here this afternoon. And then we have Maureen at 7 and Polly Joe at 8.
Yep.
Eastern time. And
Yep.
Maureen's show is Angel Therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Polly Joe's is it Chakra Sessions tonight?
Yeah. Chakra Sessions, yeah.
Yes, so lots to see on Star Nations today on Big Thursday. It's like Sweeps Day. And again, thank you for everybody who's liking and sharing and commenting on our shows. We really appreciate that a lot. The magazine is published.
Yes,
published, there we go. There's the cover. It was published yesterday, today?
Today.
Okay, good. And Native American Day 2020, the Act of Power ceremony, that's cool. High Holy Days 2020, and the sun's role in spirituality, cool. And a bonus coming home, exciting. Yeah. So there's the cover. We'll make sure the information is in the post so you guys can check out the magazine. It's a great magazine, and I happen to write for it. He said, "Humble."
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And let's see who's joining us in the live stream there. Julie is here. Hi, Julie. How are you? Deborah is here. Pauline, how are you? How are things across the pond? I hope everything is well over there. And as I said, Marge is here flying the plane, doing a great job already. And before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that once a month, we do a meditation for peace, love, harmony, and healing. And what it is it's 10 minutes from 7 to 7:10 Eastern time on Monday, September 28th. And what we do is we ask that you simply hold the intention for peace, love, harmony, and healing for 10 minutes. Now, here's the interesting part. Time in the fourth dimension is not linear. So if you can't make it on that specific time, if you meditate the day before or the day after or any time during that day and hold the intention that your energy joins us, it will join us and add to that, because time, when we do physics, we learn that time is not linear. Time is flexible, especially in the fourth dimension. So excellent, excellent, good. Some of you know Neshi and some of you don't. So for those of you who don't, I'm going to read her bio. Thank you. I couldn't think of what it was. There we go. Yvette Neshi Lokotz is the CEO of Star Nations Organization, LLC, which is a Native American woman-owned business. She is a tribal member of the Prairie Band, the Potawatomi Nation, with Ho-Chunk and Yaqui descent. Neshi is a publisher, drum maker, and a medicine dress dancer. She consciously walks the medicine path and is committed to service to her communities. Neshi is the host of Star Nations Communication from Home, the Spiritual Roundtable, and the Spiritual Roundtable, pardon me, on Star Nations live stream shows, which is what we are on right now. She holds a BA in psychology and an MA in management and organizational behavior. Excellent. Very good. Well, welcome. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
Every time I hear the bio read out loud, it's like, oh my gosh.
She's cool. I'd like to meet her. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Star Nation was all women's owned. So cool. That's good.
Yep. I'm not registered with the state of Wisconsin as a Native American owned, woman owned, for a lot of reasons, but mostly it's because it takes time to do all of that. And so one of these days I'll be listed in the realms of the state government.
Okay.
As a Native American owned, woman owned corporation.
Cool. Wow, that's cool. Great. Yeah. Excellent. And Violet is here. Hi, Violet. How are you? Lynn is here. Excellent. Excellent. So, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. Let's just jump right in. So, in our time together, I have heard you mention the Red Road.
Yes.
And I understand that it's Native American. And so, if you would explain that to us who don't quite understand that yet, I think that's interesting. So why don't we start there?
Sure. And every month after we publish, I send out an email to all of the contributing writers, thanking all of you for your contribution to the magazine. And I really do believe that between the magazine and the live stream shows are really prime examples of how we walk the Red Road, and we walk it together. And every month I tell you guys this, and I appreciate it, and I thank you, and I just love walking the Red Road with you guys, right? And so when you asked me about it, I thought, oh man, some things we just take for granted, and because I've heard this my entire life, and right. Yeah. So the Red Road, and some people may actually hear it being called the Good Red Road. Okay. And the Red Road is based on the medicine wheel teachings. Now you have to know that there's many versions, almost like dialects of a language, when it comes to understanding and living your life by the medicine wheel.
Okay.
There's over 568, I think it is, federally recognized tribal nations in the United States. And each one of them has a certain way of explaining the medicine wheel. And they're none of them are wrong. All of them are right. It just what I've learned about it, though, is that a lot of it's based on geography and the topography of the land. But anyway, with the Red Road is really the energy. The medicine wheel is like an energetic template. It's like a map. It helps us to understand our physical life. Okay. And so the Red Road is the road, the energetic road that we travel from the south to the north.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And that is the road that goes from our spirit self, or our energy, the fire within, right? From the south to the north, where that is where there's stability, and the stone people reside, ancestors, and our community, whatever community you're connected to. The
Okay.
energy or the spirit of that is found in the north.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we are taking all of the wisdom that we've gained, and we're taking it on the road. We're taking it on that south to north road, the good road, and we are in service to others by sharing our gifts, sharing our wisdom.
Okay.
And so a lot of times you'll even hear elderly Native Americans say, you got to do that in a good way. In other words, you got to be doing it from your heart. You got to do it in a good way.
Okay.
And so the doing it in a good way and traveling the red road is kind of all put together in one. And so the red road is happens simultaneously at the same time as what we're experiencing on the road that goes from east to west.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now the east and west road is actually kind of it's called the blue road or the black road. And those of us that consciously live our life through the medicine wheel, sometimes we call it the black and blue road, because because that's where we have all of our life lessons.
Okay.
Okay. And we're traveling from east to west. That means that we're going from the spirit of air
Okay.
and our mental thoughts,
Right.
west, which is water and our emotions.
Okay.
And so that's the road where we get to learn about balance and balancing between the head and the heart,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know? And so all our life lessons are all on that road. And so once we learn a life lesson and we start applying what we've learned and putting it into our lives, and we're actually doing it, that's when we start gaining our wisdom.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And so we're taking that wisdom on the road, on the red road, to our community, and that's where we are in service to others.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so in the center is where we find the creator.
Okay.
Yeah. And so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the symbol in the bottom corner here on our show, is that the symbol of the medicine wheel?
Actually, no, it's not. That's the North Star.
Okay. All right.
That's the North Star. Yeah.
Right.
But
Right.
I can see why or how you would see the medicine wheel in there, because you have the four directions.
Right.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Due north. You know what that means, don't you?
No, let us know.
Finding your due north. In other words, that's really knowing yourself.
Oh, okay. Okay. Which is important. So good. All right. So as we're doing our work, as we're taking care of ourselves, as we're learning our spiritual principles, all our principles, and helping, sharing, being part of the community, we're all walking the red road.
Right. Right.
Cool.
Now you might hear some people saying that that they fell off the red road, or they're in the weeds, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And I suppose in our physical life, because the medicine wheel covers all four of our bodies, so it covers our mental, our emotional, our spiritual, and our physical, right? And so we experience the red road in all four of our bodies. So in your physical life, you could be having some issues, some challenges that you may think that you're no longer on the red road. Right. And I think that we've all experienced that at some time in our life.
Yes. Yes.
Right. But the thing is that we can never leave the red road.
Yep.
It may be masked. It may be foggy, maybe a little blurred, but we can never leave the red road.
Right. Right. Same thing. Occasionally people will come to me and say, Ed, I'm off my path. I'm off my path. And I'm like, it's impossible. You can't be off your path. Right. Now, some days your path is a beautiful walk on the beach. Some days your path is through briar patches, and some days your path is straight up a sheer cliff face, but it's still your path. You can't be off of it. So that's interesting that the same thing that people would think that they were off the red road. It's impossible. You can't be off your path. So
No. Even if it feels like you're walking through a patch of nettles. Have you ever done that?
Not on purpose, no.
It's not pleasant. You're still on the red road.
Right, right.
And that has a lot to do with about balance and listening to your higher self,
Right,
your spiritual team,
right, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Some people would even call that the dark night of the soul.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Your higher self, your soul, will lead you right into something that you don't want to do because it's the fastest way through to help you forward along your path to what you said you wanted to do. But if consciously you could pick it, you go, yeah, no, I'm good. We don't need that. Not
I
gonna
want
happen.
scenic route. I want to go on the, what is that? Those rural roads, that, what do they call those?
Scenic highways or
Scenic highways and byways.
yes, yeah,
It's a little bit longer to get where you're going, but you still get there.
yes. Polly Joe lives off the scenic highway in Maine on Route 1 up there. So yeah.
Okay.
Excellent. Good. So the first question is, or the second question is, do you believe that service is important? Well, we already know that you believe that service is important. So what is your experience with that? Why do you believe that service is so important?
Well, a lot of that has to do with the way I was raised in a cultural way.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it has to do with the soul that I am that came into this physical world. Okay. I am an optimist. I am. I'm one of those people that I've been called Pollyanna. I don't know how many times. Oh, you see the glass half full. And I say, no, mine is always replenishable. It's never not even half.
Fill it back up.
That's right. And so, and so to be of service brings joy to me. And to be able to be there to really cheerlead somebody on,
Right.
I have so much fun doing that.
Sure.
And so and here's the thing, Ed, is that I grew up in a more traditional Native American household. Okay. Which means that the genders, there was really specific gender roles. Okay. And so females, daughters are always in service to someone. Always. And so, being the good Ho-Chunk daughter, the good Potawatomi daughter meant that I was the one that was making the tea, getting the snacks, doing all of those things for other people. Right. And so it does come with some training, that's for sure. But I think that because I still have the joy underlying it, there's more to it than that. Right. Now I had to learn the balance between the two.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
That was the challenge for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, when you're, we were even told, and I believe this to a certain extent, is that good leadership means that you're the last one to eat. That you make sure that everyone else has been fed and that they're good to go. And then you get to stand in line for your plate.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I also have learned along the way that you also need to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Right? Because you can't be of service to your fullest if you are tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not healthy.
Yeah, you can't be empty. You have to have something to give. Yeah. So it's an interesting balance between, people pleasing and, to try to find the right way.
Yeah, and that people pleasing, that's another layer to it, for sure. I can tell you, let me share one thing, small story with you.
Go ahead.
Every year, the Potawatomi Nation, who I'm enrolled with, we have a gathering of the nations. There's 9 clans, 9 bands with the Potawatomi Nation. And every year we gather. It's kind of like a huge family reunion. Okay. And one year it was in the UP. And and the UP is the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
In Michigan. Okay. All right.
in Michigan. And, I kind of tease my Michigan friends. It's like, that's the part of Michigan that should really be with Wisconsin, which is where I'm from. So anyway, the Potawatomi Nation, Hannibal, is up there, and they were hosting. And there was an elderly, one of the elders was there, and she was teaching a few of the breakout classes, right? And I was in a couple of her breakout sessions, and I realized that nobody was really watching her, making sure she had what she needed, right? To the point where she didn't even have a chair at one of them. And so I gave it my chair, gave it to her, made her
Right.
comfortable, went and got her a bottle of water because it was hot, and I didn't ask her, I just did it,
Right. Right.
and I sat on the ground.
Hmm.
Okay. So we went through the weekend, and on Sunday, she finally looked at me and she goes, "What's your name?" So I told her,
Right.
and and how my relationship back to my grandfather, and
Oh, okay.
well, she says, "Your family would be very, very proud of you." And she had me in tears,
Mm. Mm.
because she said that you just you just did it. No, I didn't have to ask. I got there and everything was set up for me. And she goes, "What we're going to do is we're going to start teaching some classes like this."
Cool.
It's only because my parents, my mom had me when she was 42. So
Okay.
I grew up among a lot of older people all the time,
Right. Right.
you know? So, some of it is the training, yes,
Right.
but a lot of it has to do with the joy underneath it,
Mm.
you
Mm.
know? Yeah.
And I know you teach workshops, I teach workshops, and I've talked to teachers about this, and there's there's a magic moment when you understand something and you get an aha and you get that feeling and that energy. And then there's even a more magical moment watching somebody else get that and know that the way you just explained it, it just boom, and they're like, I get it. And that's a magic moment. And that's one of the reasons why I teach. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons why you teach, because
Me too.
it just brings the joy. Um, it's interesting, the story you were just saying, because
Mhm.
I was also brought up the same way. My father was a retired New York City police officer, and we were brought up that the way you led was you made sure that you took care of your people. That was the rule.
Right.
And I ended up working for somebody, a manager who was a manager of quite a few of us, who put himself first for everything.
Ooh.
And that was a really eye-opening experience, because until I reached that point, I didn't even understand that there was that sort of thinking, because I was so brought up in, if you're the leader, if you're in charge, you take care of your people. And this guy had no interest in taking care of us at all.
Right.
So it was an interesting lesson, the opposite of the lesson that you had with the elder. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
cool. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting.
And I have to add this, is that how it translates into Star Nations, um, because the only reason we're even here doing this is for the people who are in the live chat,
Right.
the people who come to our classes and buy the magazine, and so they're our community.
Yes. Yeah.
So we get to share our wisdom with our community, and that to me is, it brings me a great deal of joy to be able to provide that, the vehicle,
Yes.
the vehicle that we call Star Nations, that we get to ride in together. Right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I'm here in Massachusetts. You're in Wisconsin, and
Mhm.
we know Pauline is across the pond on the other side of the world, and that blows my mind.
Yeah.
That we
You
can
know,
be this connected.
and it
So it's
happens.
amazing.
It happens in every single one of our shows.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that we have the distribution of all the way around Grandmother Earth.
mm,
There are people from all over who come to the live streams and live, like Pauline.
right,
Um, but we also have those that watch us by the recording, because it might be early morning for wherever they are, or
right,
it might be at midnight. And
right.
so they're going to watch the recording, and so we get to touch a whole lot of souls.
Yeah, Yeah.
Mhm.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. So what do you do when your path turns into briar patches and a sheer cliff
As
face?
it does.
Yeah, right. Because you and I are perfect. We never have anything like that happen, right?
Yeah, right, right, right. Well, I have to tell you that that usually tells me something that I need to slow down
Okay.
because I am a triple Sagittarian.
Oh,
So I have a lot of fire.
yes.
And so with that also comes the my personal belief that I have an endless amount of energy. And so I keep going, 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 going until I hit the proverbial wall.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I've learned over the past couple of decades that to slow down a little bit before you hit the wall. Don't hit the wall.
Yeah, that's not fun.
You don't have to, right? And so usually that means that I am doing way too much,
Hmm.
too fast. And so I recognize the signs,
Okay.
the symbols early on. At least but we're
Okay.
two-legged. We're two-legged. It still happens like
Right.
right now. It's like I don't have you ever had sciatica? Anybody ever have sciatica?
Yeah. I get it a little bit. Marge has had it a couple of times. Not fun.
It's not pleasant. So I've been dealing. It actually started with some medication I was on for the diabetes, and so I've been at this since January. And yeah, and so and so when you do self care, it makes you slow down.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I find myself saying to my husband Paul, I said, it's like, do you realize it takes me 30 minutes to do my stretches? Do you know what I can get done in 30 minutes?
Yeah, that's my problem too. It's like um, Marge and I have been really, really good, and we've been going out for a walk just about every single morning. And it takes a good half hour, 40 minutes, and it's everything. And I've gotten much better at it to just quiet the da 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 and just, you know what, listen to the birds, look for the dogs, look at the houses, and just because it's so important for both of us. And I'm getting better at it, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. It's that slowing down piece.
right,
And even though the whole world was in that big pause, earlier in the year,
right, right,
and there's a whole bunch of us that took advantage of that to do that introspection and to really sort out for ourselves, what we wanted and what we don't want.
right,
um, there's still a handful of us that it didn't really change my life all that much.
right,
And so I was still going.
right,
And
right.
now spirit has such a great way of being delivering exactly what you need
Yes. Yeah.
when you need it.
Yeah. Yep.
And so yeah, so I've had to slow down. I've had to slow down, which is a good thing. It's a
Yeah.
good but so I still go through it. I still go through it. I
Yeah.
still do meditations,
Okay.
out of 7 days, I'd probably meditate at least 5.
Good.
Um, yeah, and sometimes it's only 5 minutes.
Well,
Other
that's
times,
better than
it's
nothing.
longer. But yeah, and when I feel like that fatigue starting on the edges because you can feel it,
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
like, all right, I need to put this down.
Yep. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
need to go take a nap, or I'm going to bed early tonight.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
One of the things we say all the time, and we I don't want to say warn because I don't like warnings, but we let our clients know that if you don't take care of your body will stop you.
yes,
And we've all learned that, and
yeah,
we know you had a little bit of an experience with that earlier this year. So
right.
just a
That's right.
little reminder. Yes.
Uh,
Good. Now, do you have any specific grounding techniques?
yeah, I do. I have actually 2 of them. And
Okay.
one of them I do because it just feels good.
Cool.
And that's the meditation that I was doing for everybody. I think we started, when was that? In March or April? And we did it every day for 6 weeks.
Cool.
Yeah. Actually, we lost Ed. I hear him. He's still here. All right. So anyway, the other one is the Merkaba. And I activated my Merkaba, which is your light body, right? It's your ascension vehicle. And with the Merkaba is you are connected all the time. You're grounded all the time. You're protected all the time. You are centered all the time. And so with the Merkaba, that really, I mean, that was back in 2001 when I activated it. It went permanent in 2002. This is in the old way of doing it, right? And that shifted everything in my life. Because as my husband would say, he would say, it doesn't feel like we're on this roller coaster anymore, with the highs and the lows, with the emotions and that sort of thing, is that it was a more of a steady energy, which was great. And so with the Merkaba, I can relax into the experience of different energies that come through.
Do the guest thing.
Do the
Okay. All right. Yep.
Trying to get back in. There we go. He'll get there. Lynn saying, me too. Yeah. And Marie said that she loved those meditations and still use them. Yay! That's great. That's great because they're still out there on the Star Nations organization's main fan page here at Facebook. All you have to do is look under the videos and in the playlist. I think I called them meditations, if I remember right. And so they're still out there if you're interested in something like that. Hey, Ed, you're back.
I didn't know what to do. All right. And we switch sides just to make sure you're all paying attention. We switch sides. There we go. All right. Interesting.
It's like that left and right brain thing.
Yes, it is. Good. All right.
I was just sharing with everybody about, the meditation for grounding, centering, and protecting, that I still do that on occasion because I just love the way it feels.
Cool.
But honestly, because I have my activated and permanent Merkaba, that helps me to be able to relax into whatever energy that's flowing because I'm protected. I can live my life with as my heart completely open if I wanted to, right? Because I'm protected. The Merkaba has 5 layers of light around you. And so it's impervious. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't experience something that we might deem negative or low vibration, because, energy is just energy. We're the ones that put that connotation on it.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So whenever something comes through that I would say, oh, what was that? That was kind of a low vibration. What was that all about? That shows me that I have to pay attention to whatever that was because there's a life lesson attached to it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that leads us to my next question, which is, what is the Merkaba or the Merkaba?
Yeah, the Merkaba. I actually, this was, just like that. It's a star tetrahedron.
Right.
That means the tetrahedron is a triangle. And it's one of the platonic solids. There's 5 platonic solids, and the tetrahedron is one of them, and it represents fire. So when you get 2 of them put together and they kind of overlap in the center.
Right, as you can see there.
Right. And so the one with the point to up is the up one. That's the male tetrahedron.
Okay.
Representing the sky. Okay. Up. And the one that's facing down.
This one here, the other one, the down.
Yep. The pointy part is on your thumb.
Right.
That is the earth tetrahedron or female tetrahedron. Okay. And so when you put them together, you have balance between the sacred feminine and sacred masculine. Okay. And so it's also known as the star tetrahedron. At that point. Some people might say, hey, that looks like the Star of David.
Right.
Just because it is.
Right.
or King Solomon's seal is another one. King Solomon.
Right. And that's the 2D drawing of it, or the flat representation of what that symbol is the Star of David. Right.
Yeah, because I have that one right here. This is kind of cool. Got this one in Mexico.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So the Merkaba is actually our ascension vehicle. And so it helps us on our spiritual path here, on our physical life, and helps us understand a little bit clearer about the things that are going on. It will heighten your intuition because it helps you to translate the energies that's coming through. So all that light language that's going on, right?
Yeah.
It comes through your Merkaba and it helps you to be able to take it in, to ingest it literally, and to help you to understand what that means. Now, does it always come through the mental body? Not always. A lot of
Hmm.
times, it's like it's that knowing. It's like, oh, I need to do this or I need to go there, and you
Right.
don't really understand it. But you do it and you get there and you think, oh, that's why I had to do that. Okay,
Mhm.
I got it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, what's Marie saying?
She's saying, would you have any classes on activating the Merkaba? That I would be very interested in. And Marie is reading my mind, or I'm reading hers, because that the next question I was going to ask you is I believe you teach about this, right?
Yes. I was trained by Drunvalo Melchizedek. He's one of my teachers. I was one of his teachers for Awakening the Illuminated Heart. And so, yes, Marie, and yes, Ed, I'm teaching that class again. I took, I guess it's almost 5 years break.
Okay.
Yeah, because my mom needed me, right? So
Right.
yes, in fact, because of that virus, a lot of classes are happening online now, right? And so
Right.
this particular class, I call it Journey of Remembering, and that is coming up. I think we get started this month,
Oh,
September 20th. I'm doing a 6-week online class. And it is about how to creating from the tiny space of your heart. We're going to be talking about the medicine wheel because I have to teach it from my point of view, right?
of course.
And so, and so the one thing, the ultimate creation is to activate your Merkaba, and so the last class is all about that.
Cool.
So we'll be doing that for 6 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
We can put the Academy class link, the Star Nations website link in the comments, and we'll get that to you. Okay, Marie?
good.
Right.
We'll make sure that that's there. Now, Drunvalo wrote the book, the 2 books about the flower of life,
Yes.
both of which I have and have read a number of years ago. Okay.
Oh my gosh, that jam-packed with
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
But let's see, I can't even remember when that was. It was maybe 1999 or 2000, something like that. Went to Borders, was a bookstore, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And one of those things is like, I have to go to Borders. I don't know why.
Right.
So I go in and it's an oversized book. And so the oversized books are usually up on a higher shelf, the highest shelf, right? And I saw I think it's the purple book is
Yeah, they're both
volume two. Volume two, the one's purple, one's blue.
Oh,
And
okay.
volume 2 was up there and I liked the color of the spine. And so I pulled it out and when I turned it over, it's got the flower of life
Right.
on the cover. And I tell you what, I felt like the book was vibrating in my hand. And so that's the book I had to buy. And I'm reading it and I'm reading it. And I finally got through with it. And I was going to do the pattern in the back of the book, helps you to create a paper 3D of the star tetrahedron.
Right.
Merkaba, right? I couldn't get that to work.
I couldn't either.
For me, and so I'm talking.
I went out and bought one and went, there you go. There's a story.
All right, so what I did was I talked to my spiritual team. I said, why am I not understanding this? What am I missing? And literally, I could see the pattern that they gave us, right? And where you're supposed to fold it along the dotted lines and that sort of thing. I got out of bed and because I made a lot of copies of it and I did it without looking at the book.
Cool.
And I was able to do it without looking at the instructions.
Good.
And so I'm talking to Maureen St. Germain, who is the teacher that I went to activate my Merkaba. And she was only 30 minutes from me, from where I used to live. Didn't know her before that. And I'm telling her the story, and she goes, "Oh my goodness, dear! Do you know that there is a typo in those instructions? That's why you couldn't get it." And I said, well, that's good to know now. It took 4 days I was at it. 4
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, well, you're better than me. I didn't try that. I tried for maybe an hour or so. I was like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. So,
Well, there's certain things about me now that is I do get kind of tenacious about certain things.
right, right.
And so, yeah, I was going to work on that until I got it.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Cool. And I noticed in the comments, there's a lot of people who said they're interested. So good. We will make
good.
sure that we get that information in there for you so you guys can check that out. So cool.
Margie, in fact, I will see if I can get that for you.
Okay.
There is the Flower of Life books is what really did that for me. And I was teaching the feng shui and sacred space classes, the certification classes, right along that time frame. And it turns out I was in meditation, and it turns out that I was asking to meet the 5 highest teachers that I have, and I met 4 of them, and the 5th one I just couldn't, I couldn't make it out. And it's like, I don't know. So here I am. Finally took a nap because I was so tired after teaching for 2 weeks straight. And as I'm laying there, I heard one of my guides say to me, "Go to Egypt."
Oh.
And I could see me walking in sand. I could see my sandals and wearing something longer.
Mm-hmm.
And it said, "Go to Egypt." I said, "Go to Egypt." So what I did was I got on Google early in the day for Google, and I Googled ancient Egyptian goddesses. And do you know how many there are?
There's a lot. There's a lot. Yeah.
So I'm scrolling through, and I got to one name, and it was like, boom.
Okay.
And that's Seashat. And I'd never heard of her before.
Okay.
And Seashat was the consort or the wife of Thoth. And she is known as Lady of the Library. She's the very first scribe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And so that was my 5th teacher. And so she led me to something called the Path of Seashell,
Okay.
which is actually a lot like the medicine wheel.
Cool. Yes. I am slightly familiar with that. I don't know. The name sounds familiar, but I'm just and I see Julie has the Star Nations Academy. Thank you, Julie. We appreciate it. Thank you. And now, the last time we had you on the show, me, the guides in March, I wanted to ask you a question, and we ran out of time. So before we bring in the guides, and you can take as long as you want to answer this, and then we'll deal with the guides afterwards, is I am curious because you have access to a lot of spiritual teachers through Star Nations, right? I would dare say that every single person that is through Star Nations is a spiritual teacher. Is that fair to say? Okay. Yes. So how has that affected you? And how do you not get bowled over by different energies? And, there's a lot to that, I know some of the teachers, and I know their power up, like Polly Joe is a force. So.
So true. But, honestly, a lot has to do with respect, right? A lot of it has to do with actually connecting soul to soul. Right. Because once we do that, once we connect soul to soul, heart to heart, I can honestly say that the spiritual teachers that I am connected to through Star Nations, I love you guys. I really do.
Yeah.
I even get a little verklempt when I think about it. There is almost, it's more than colleagues. It's more than that. It is, we're going full circle. It's going back to walking the red road together.
Right.
Yeah. Because we are so interconnected. When I say we, that's the royal we.
Sure.
Right. And for those that are actively contributing to Star Nations, I believe that we all come on, that's the same page we're all on.
Hmm.
And so that also is interlaced into that respect that we have for each other, right? And the kindness that we have for each other,
Yes.
the support that we give to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, yeah. And just, I tell you what, the kind of conversations that we have, whether it's right here, like on our live stream shows, or when we just call each other and say, I haven't talked to you in a while,
Right.
and just get kind of caught up a bit,
Hmm.
right? You guys, the audience, the kind of conversations that don't get recorded, right? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I don't know if I answered your question, but that's
Well, yeah, you did, and the I'm going to add a couple editorial comments
sure. Go ahead.
because I'm the host.
Yeah, you can.
Right, I can. I am blessed because Maureen and Polly Joe live in Massachusetts, so I get to see them and I get to talk to them. Well, I haven't seen them for a while because of the virus, but I still get to interact with them in person. And I've talked to some of the other folks through the TV shows and through you. And the thing that I am most impressed with is I don't feel egos.
No.
And that to me, when I meet a spiritual teacher, if the first thing I feel is an ego, I'm like, yeah, we're good. That's it. That's a red flag for me. And so that's one of the amazing things. I mean, Marjorie and I loved you immediately. It's just that pure, honest, loving energy that comes through. And there's no agenda. We're here to, as you say, and again, full circle, to walk the red road and to offer what we know to all the wonderful people who watch our shows and who interact with us. And that is what I feel from everybody at Star Nations.
Yeah.
And so I find that wonderful and loving and opens my heart and all those other.
Me too. That's what makes me verklempt whenever I go in that direction, and the feelings that I have, I get kind of misty eyed. And it also goes throughout the entire community.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm just looking at all the names that are in the live chat right now.
Right.
And I can honestly tell you that I have had interactions with almost everyone in this live chat.
Cool.
Whether it's, wishing them a happy birthday, or it's, answering a question, or, posting things for them because I know that they will like it,
Sure.
that kind of thing. And I think that gives us a really good, loving community. I've had people, because I can't be everywhere doing everything. I'm not that omnipotent. I'm not. and so I've had people contact me and say, "Did you see the post in such and such a group? I don't know if that's something you want there." And I'll go and take a look, and sure enough, somebody's.
Yep.
So, I delete it and that kind of thing. And so I am so grateful for people to say, raise their hand, or say
Right.
Could you take a look at that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it also tells me that they honor and respect the community.
Right. They feel the same way we do.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So cool.
Maura says, "This is so interesting." It is. It's almost, I almost sometimes wish, Ed, that when we're having just an offline kind of conversation, whether it's just before a class or before the show or one of our conversations, if we could just record that one time, I think our audience, probably the people who follow us, would probably think, "You should make that a show." You should do that as a topic.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And feel free to send in show suggestions. We're always, I don't want to say scrambling, but we're always trying to come up with things. And if there's something that you guys are interested in or want us to talk about, or even have someone that you would suggest to be a guest, please send it in, send in the messages. We will certainly take a look at it. I'm speaking for myself and my show, but I'm sure Neshi would do the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
Ed, I did, it was earlier in the year. I think it was. I'd have to look at the date on it. I did post, I think it was in the Star Nations live stream shows private group. right? I had written a note there for everybody that I was working on a project, which I was at the time, asking them about their most challenging spiritual piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was like, I want to say over 60 comments.
Wow. Wow.
And so looking back through that, that's how some of the show topics got selected.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
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 Cool. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Yes, it's a wonderful community that we have. All right. Are you ready to answer some questions from the? All right. Good. And I want to let everybody know, we haven't formally mentioned this on the show before. So we're doing a workshop called A Meeting with the Guides, and we have been doing it with Star Nations. We're going to try to do it fairly often. And what it is for 2 hours, I will channel the guides and they will answer questions for you. And what it does is the guides usually have a bit of a monologue in the beginning that lasts maybe 10 minutes or something like that. And then we open it up to questions and the guides answer questions. And what it's been is the first few times we've had smaller groups. So everybody has been able to ask multiple questions and the 2 hours goes by in a flash. So watch for that. If you don't get your question answered today, A Meeting with the Guides. And I just want to give everybody a refresher about the guides. The guides come through very strong and very directly, and sometimes they can be blunt. It always comes from a loving place. The more focused and more powerful the question, the more focused and powerful the answer. Give me a reading is not a powerful question. So it's more about a subject that you want to know something about. Sometimes my voice changes. You always have free will. They're not going to take away your free will. The guides may not give you what you need, but they will always give you what you want. And as I said, you can send in questions ahead of time. So with that, we'll see if there's any questions. Yep, Violet has a question right there. And I would love to know which way to go with my business. Currently on Facebook, and I'm wondering if I should just stay with Facebook or if I should venture into Pinterest. Okay, I don't need the guides to answer that, Violet. Violet, stay on Facebook. Okay, Facebook is, because in my business, I'm looking into the same thing and how to spread it further. And Facebook is a platform that's designed to help people share. And the purpose of it is to share and to like and everything else, where Pinterest is not necessarily designed for that. So you're better off starting and staying on Facebook and going from there. There's a wonderful book out called 1 Million Followers in 1 Month. I believe the author's name is Brandon Kane. And if you look in there, there's some information about Facebook and about growing your business, and that would be very helpful to what you're doing. Would you like to say anything to Violet?
Well, it's good, Violet, that you are considering different avenues. I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Pinterest, as far as I can tell, and I'm a part of 2 different mastermind groups, and we talk about this quite often, actually, is that Pinterest is kind of like an early Google. It is really good for pictures and images and that sort of thing, and to search for something. It is becoming the one of the largest search engines, much like YouTube. Okay. And so if you were going to go in that direction, you might want to consider pictures of your products, right? That kind of thing. But I have to agree with Ed, is that Facebook and Instagram actually is much more geared to we're just going to say it the way it is, sales.
Right. And to
reaching communities. Right. And so, so that, and we all only have so much time in a day to get things done. Right. And so where are you going to place your energy? That's the question. Energy allocation.
Right. And what's going to bring you the biggest results. So Perfect. Excellent. Pauline would like to ask the guide my next step regarding my career. Are you getting anything clear for Pauline there?
Well, it feels like, Pauline, that the options that you have really is about what your heart desire is. And I keep hearing it being open to suggestions, but follow your heart. I don't know if what that does for you, but we all have gifts, right? I just did a show about this. Is that what you need to do is go where you can use your gifts the most, even if that means stretching you.
Yeah, which
right?
It's gonna. And the not from here, from here. And we want to be careful about always making decisions from our logic brain, and because we tend to dismiss our heart. Now, we know your heart is a little more, your heart is quite a bit open, actually, as we're feeling it. So we would go with our heart, follow what our heart tells us. When you're in alignment, when you're feeling joy, that's when you're connected, and that's when you're letting your energy flow. So get into the connected, get into the feeling of joy, and anything that makes you smile puts you into your heart, which gets you into joy. And from that place, move forward, and you will know what to do from there. Good. Excellent. Marie, I would like to know if the job I'm interviewing for is the next step. Are you exploding with an answer there?
Am I?
Yes.
I was just connecting with Marie.
Oh, okay. All right.
That is so weird.
The interview is part of the direction that you're moving in. And we do feel that it is part of the step, but there's something, we have two ways of describing this to you. There's something that's sort of misaligned, or there's something that's going to be a little bit of a surprise. And we like the saying a bit of a surprise. So there's going to be a little bit of maybe a surprise change in direction as you're moving forward. And continue to feel with your heart, continue to pay attention to which feels better, which choice feels better, which choice lets my energy flow. And again, try not to be too much in your head and be more in your heart. But we feel that the interview is in that direction, but there's a surprise coming, a shift coming with that.
All right, Marie, you're going to like this one, because I tell you what, I had to go, what? Because that's so weird. Okay, so I don't know if you know how to tap dance, but that's exactly what I heard, and what I kind of saw was tap dancing. Why? Why tap dancing? And actually doing that step. I don't know if you know that one about shuffle off to Buffalo. You know how they do that? And so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because whether it's going dancing in the opposite direction, or are you shuffling off to Buffalo kind of thing, because that's a big move, especially when you don't live in New York. And it's not that you're saying you're going to New York, it's just that it's like it's going to be kind of a big step for you.
Right. And that's the energy, sort of, we're planning this to go where my hands are planning to go this way, and there's going to be a little, so we like to tap dance. That's good. Actually.
Yeah.
So, all right, Lynn, I would like to ask the guides if I will be moving anytime soon. I'm hearing not yet. No, I'm hearing no. Not anytime soon. That there's still, it's an interesting time because of the virus. A lot of people are selling houses and a lot are moving, and the market seems to be hot. But we're not feeling soon. Now, it's September. There's only a few months left in the year, so we're not feeling this year. But things could change towards the spring, is what we're getting, but not at the moment. Does that work for you, Neshi?
Yeah, it's Lynn. What I heard, my team was telling me that everybody's moving, everybody's shifting, and if you're talking about a physical place, not for a while, but you're shifting energetically already.
Yeah.
So talk about that alignment. So things are lining up. They're getting in alignment.
Yeah.
And so it might not reach the physical realm yet, but you're in the process of. You're in the process of making that physical energetic move.
Good. Yeah. Deborah is asking, how can I continue to build confidence and believe in my intuitive gifts? So what I did was I made a journal because I would forget. And when I listed and I had my journal and I said this day and this 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 and this, whenever I felt a little like, I would just go look at the journal and go, I have all this proof here. I am certainly doing this. My gifts are certainly working. It's taking time to acknowledge. So, for example, this morning when we did our other little Facebook show that we do, my Ed Talk, 3 people said, I was thinking about this morning. And then that's what we did the show on. So all of them had connected to the energy, including Marge, including myself. And that's an easy thing to dismiss and go, oh, but write it in your journal so that you know. And when you have those days when you go, I don't know, go look at your journal, look at the pages and pages and pages of the times you did it and go, yeah, of course I'm using my gifts. Of course and that will help. And that's a real sort of physical, tangible way, but it works. I've done that. So Neshi, what do you have to say about that?
Okay. So everybody, Deborah and I are rather connected. She helps me with the magazine, right? And so I know Deborah. And so do I need to connect with my guides to say this? And it's like, okay, what can we share with Deborah that we haven't shared already, right? And what they came up with for me is, Deborah, God, you are so loved. You are so loved in so many ways, that your gifts and what you're doing and your intuition and all that is, you're already doing it. You're already doing it. And that you have the capacity for so much more, yes. But you are exactly where you need to be right now. Exactly. Because you're so deeply loved. So keep doing what you're doing, embracing. And, and some of this, Deborah, we both know that it has more to do with self-confidence, right? And self-worth, right? And so, yeah, is just to remember how much you're loved. No matter what you do or how you do it, you're so loved. So I want to give you a big hug next time I see you.
And Cindy is asking, am I off my path? And earlier, Cindy, in the show, we were talking about how walking the red road and being on your path, that it's impossible to be off your path, that you're always on your path. Sometimes your path is a wonderful stroll down the lane. Sometimes your path is briar patches. Sometimes your path is up sheer cliff faces. But you're always on your path. Now, you know about the onion and you know about the layers of the onion, and you're going in deeper and you're peeling the layers and peeling the layers. And this has been new, which was a real duh for us, but the guide said it to me not too long ago. And they said, Ed, what happens when you peel an onion? And I'm like, oh, you cry. And I'm like, oh, duh, right? So part of the path, part of peeling the onion is there's tears, and the tears are healing and releasing, but that doesn't mean you're off your path. right? We didn't come here to sit under a tree and meditate all day long. We could have stayed where we were if we wanted to do that. We came here to mix it up, to be on our path, to learn things, to bump our knees, as Neshi said earlier, the black and blue path. And that's part of it. So no, Cindy, you are not off your path. Not at all. Not by any chance.
No. And some of that, Cindy, has to do with embracing even those aspects that are what we might call difficult. And I know that's kind of hard to do, isn't it? It's kind of like hugging a cactus. And it's hard sometimes to do that and to appreciate that place that we're in, because I've been there, but to appreciate the path that you're on, that you actually have a path.
Right.
Yeah, that you actually have one. And it's always the right one. There's no mistakes. There's no, oh my gosh, I made this huge mistake. It just means that you experienced it differently than you could have, is all. So no, you're exactly right place, right time, right place.
Right.
Right time, right place.
Excellent. Yes. And we learn from the mess, is what we say. We learn from the bumps and the bruises. When everything is going wonderful and fine, and we all enjoy that, but there's no growth and no learning at that point. It's from the contrast, from the friction, and it's how do we frame that? Yeah. How do we, because we get to decide, is this good? Is this bad? And if you decide it's bad, it's going to be uncomfortable. And if you decide, well, it's part of it, right? Which is what Neshi was saying, hugging the cactus.
And if you deem it bad, then change it.
Yeah.
Change it.
Perfect. Excellent. Good. So we are a little bit over time, and I think we're going to call it a show for today. Thank you, Neshi, for being here. It was so much fun. I know we could talk for hours, and I think some of our wonderful viewers would sit here with us and watch it. So, but this is Big Thursday, and I know there's more shows coming up later, so we don't want to burn anybody out. So, thank you for being here and being a guest, and you are coming back in the future, whether you want to or not.
Rid of me.
You're coming back. Thank you to Marge again for doing such a wonderful job flying the plane, as always. And we have workshops. My website is up on there, so you can. We're still doing everything on Zoom. And thank you, light and love to Neshi. Thank you, light and love to all of you. And you know what I'm going to say. The guides want you to know that you're worthy. Light and love to all of you. We'll see you next month. Take care now. Bye.